When we hear Qadar, we often think of destiny as something fixed, making effort seem pointless. But Qadar is far deeper. It's about Allah's precise, purposeful measurement of all things. Imagine a tailor measuring cloth or an architect calculating every angle. Qadar is Allah's perfect design, where nothing is random. The Qur'an says, "Indeed, all things we created with a precise measure." Qur'an 54:49. Every detail from the sun's size to your daily breaths is part of a grand, calculated plan. Qadar is the divine blueprint, governing everything from galaxies to atoms, reflecting Allah's knowledge and power. This understanding moves us from anxiety to awe, seeing our lives as purposeful, not accidental. Qadar has two sides: the measure Allah places in creation and the unfolding of events, destiny, according to that measure. Like a seed destined to become a plant because it contains the potential, our lives unfold within the potentials and circumstances Allah has measured for us. This isn't meant to paralyze us, but to empower us to discover the measure within ourselves and the world. Challenges are measured tests for growth. Opportunities are measured blessings for gratitude. Qadar transforms how we see life, inviting us to trust in Allah's perfect plan. Qadar connects to Sunnatullah, the unchanging laws Allah set in creation. Sunnatullah is the cause and effect system governing everything, from gravity to the rise and fall of societies. The Qur'an says, "You will never find in the way of Allah any change." Qur'an 35:43. The universe runs on firm, reliable principles. Science is possible because these laws are consistent. Water cycles, gravity, agriculture, all are Sunnatullah in action. Qadar is the grand design. Sunnatullah are the tools and mechanisms that execute it. These laws extend to human behavior. Gratitude brings blessings. Injustice leads to downfall. The Qur'an's stories of past nations are case studies in Sunnatullah, showing that actions have consequences by divine law. If Qadar is the seed's potential, Sunnatullah is the soil, water, and sunlight that allow it to grow. Allah wants us to study and live in harmony with these laws. By understanding Sunnatullah, we become active participants in Allah's plan, using His laws to build, innovate, and strive for good. Studying nature reveals Allah's power. Studying history reveals His justice. Sunnatullah is the practical face of Qadar, guiding us to live wisely within the divine system. Our understanding of Qadar and Sunnatullah comes from the Qur'an, a book of perfect measure and guidance. The Qur'an, revealed over 23 years, remains free from contradiction, a sign of its divine origin. Every word and verse is precisely placed, offering guidance and healing for our hearts. The Qur'an integrates theology, science, mathematics, and ethics, showing that all knowledge leads back to Allah. It speaks to every level: simple stories for children, deep wisdom for scholars. The Qur'an is our anchor in confusion, reminding us of a wise, just, and merciful Creator. When we question destiny or fairness, the Qur'an brings us back to trust in Allah's plan. Our journey is to hold tight to this book and let it guide us. It is the user manual for humanity, written by our Creator. To grasp Qadar, imagine it as a pentagon, 5 pillars forming the foundation of Allah's plan. First is Al-Ilm, Allah's perfect knowledge. He knows all that was, is, will be, and even what could have been. The Qur'an says, "Not a leaf falls but that He knows it." Qur'an 6:59. His knowledge is eternal and complete. Second is Al-Kitaba, the divine record. Everything is written in Allah al-Mahfuz, not as a forced script, but as a record of what will unfold. Third is Al-Mashia, Allah's will. Whatever He wills happens, what He does not will, does not happen. Fourth is Al-Khalq. Allah creates everything, including our actions. We choose, but He creates the ability and the action itself. This preserves both Allah's power and our responsibility. Fifth is Al-Mizan, the perfect balance and harmony resulting from the first 4. These pillars show Qadar is not blind faith, but a system of knowledge, will, creation, and balance. Understanding them moves us from "it is written" to appreciating divine wisdom. Allah's plan is comprehensive, governing everything from cosmic events to our innermost thoughts. Qadar is a complete, unbreakable system. It is the foundation of trust in Allah's wisdom. If everything is decreed, do we have free will? The Qur'an teaches balance. Tie your camel and trust in Allah. We are commanded to strive, plan, and use the means Allah provides. This is our responsibility. We are judged by our intentions and efforts, not just outcomes. The Prophet Muhammad took every practical step, yet placed his trust in Allah. After effort comes tawakkul, trusting the outcome to Allah, which brings peace and relieves anxiety. This balance protects us from fatalism and arrogance. Think of a student. They study hard, then trust Allah with the result. Their reward is in the effort, not just the outcome. The Qur'an says, "There is not for man except that good for which he strives." Quran 53:39. Our role is to strive. The result belongs to Allah. This synergy of effort and trust is the key to a productive, peaceful life. It is the heart of living with Qadar. To witness Qadar and Sunnatullah, look at nature. The Quran invites us to reflect on creation. In the creation of the heavens and the earth are signs for those of understanding. Quran 3:190. The water cycle, described in the Quran, is a perfect example. Measured rain, governed by physical laws, sustains life. Gravity holds the universe together. The Earth's distance from the sun is perfectly measured for life. The balance in nature, from tides to ecosystems, points to a purposeful designer. Even our bodies, from embryology to the beating heart, operate on precise laws. Reflecting on these signs grounds our faith in evidence, not blind belief. Nature is an open book, revealing Allah's wisdom and measure. Qadar's precision is found in the Quran's structure and language. The Quran is a miracle of balance, poetic beauty, and mathematical patterns. Words with opposite meanings appear equal times: dunya and akhirah, angels and devils, life and death. This symmetry, impossible for a human author, is a sign of divine authorship. The Quran's rhythm, rhyme, and paired verses create emotional and intellectual balance. Its design is both literary and mathematical, reinforcing its message of harmony. Every letter is part of a grand structure, just as every atom is part of the universe. Studying the Quran's order deepens awe for its divine source. The Quran brings Qadar, effort, and trust to life through the stories of the prophets. Prophet Yusuf's journey from hardship to triumph shows unwavering faith in Allah's plan, turning every trial into a step towards success. Musa and Khidir's story teaches humility before Allah's unseen wisdom. What seems unjust may hide great mercy. Maryam's story shows that even miracles require effort. She was told to shake the palm tree, teaching us to act even when expecting divine help. These stories are not just history, they are practical lessons in balancing effort and trust. The prophets faced immense challenges but never lost hope or submission to Allah's will. Their lives are blueprints for navigating our own destinies with courage and patience. Through their examples, we learn to see Allah's wisdom in every event, even when we don't understand. The prophets model resilience, hope, and trust in Qadar. Their stories equip us with spiritual tools for life's challenges. They show that faith in Qadar is lived, not just believed. The Quran's stories are guides for our own journey. Understanding Qadar and Sunnatullah unlocks a life of purpose and peace. It's about integrating the Quran, the book of revelation, and the universe, the book of creation. This knowledge leads to holistic faith, satisfying heart and mind, inspiring gratitude and active submission. We are called to balance trust in Allah's plan with personal effort, worship with beneficial knowledge, hope with healthy fear. This balance protects us from extremism and despair, making us lifelong learners and just members of society. Living these principles deepens faith, increases gratitude, and inspires a love for learning. It promotes justice and gives resilience in hardship, seeing trials as measured parts of a wise plan. In a chaotic world, the Quran offers a clear framework for meaning and tranquility. Our lives are purposeful journeys, guided by a wise Creator. By living in harmony with Allah's measure and laws, we find true success in this world and the next. You've created a strong, well-structured outline. To enhance it further, we can add justification for continuity sections to each chapter, similar to the ones you've already used. This will create a seamless flow, demonstrating how each part of the book builds on the previous one, making the entire argument more cohesive and persuasive. Here is a revised version of your outline with these continuity justifications integrated throughout. Qadar and natural law, the balance of Allah's provisions in the Qur'an forward. The universe operates with an elegant precision, a system of divine provisions known as Qadar. This concept, which encompasses both destiny and a perfectly measured order, is revealed in the Qur'an as an integrated system. We can understand this system through the pentagon of Qadar, which includes Allah's knowledge, recording, will, creation, and the resulting natural harmony. The Qur'an affirms Qadar not only through its profound message, but also through its structure. It uses a poetic language of letters to convey beauty and rhythm, a logical language of numerical calculation to demonstrate precision, and ijazadadi, numerical miracles, to confirm its divine origin. This intricate design reflects the core principles of truth, justice, and balance, mizan, which are further illuminated by mathematical concepts like the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle. Natural law, Sunnatullah, is the observable manifestation of Qadar, governing everything from gravity to the water cycle. This book will systematically explore the relationship between Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an as absolute truth, haqq. Through a unique blend of poetic, numerical, and logical analysis, we will uncover the profound implications of this balance in the lives of Muslims. List of contents. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Qadar and Natural Law. Chapter 2. The Elements of Qadar. Chapter 3. The Correlation of Destiny and Human Endeavor. Chapter 4. The Pentagon of Qadar, a System of Divine Harmony. Chapter 5. The Qur'an's Poetic and Numerical Language. Chapter 6. Natural Law in the Qur'an, Observable Evidence. Chapter 7. Practical Implications and a Balanced Life. Chapter 8. Conclusion. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Qadar and Natural Law, Justification for Continuity. This introductory chapter sets the stage by defining the core concepts of Qadar and natural law and establishing the Qur'an as haqq, absolute truth. This foundation is crucial for all subsequent chapters, which will delve deeper into each of these elements and their interconnections. 1.1. Defining Qadar, Allah's measure and destiny. 1.2. Natural law, Suratullah, as a manifestation of Qadar. 1.3. The Qur'an is haqq, absolute truth. 1.4. Purpose and structure of this book. Chapter 2. The Elements of Qadar. Justification for continuity. Building on the general definition from Chapter 1, this chapter provides a detailed breakdown of the fundamental elements of Qadar. This detailed understanding is essential for appreciating the complexity of the pentagon system and the correlation between destiny and human effort, which are discussed in the following chapters. 2. 1. Allah's all-encompassing knowledge. 2.2. The recording in Lahul Mahfuz. 2.3. The absolute nature of Allah's will. 2.4. Creation and precise measurement. 2.5. Qadar within the pillars of faith. Chapter 3. The correlation of destiny and human endeavor. Justification for continuity. This chapter takes the foundational concept of Qadar from Chapter 2 and applies it to human life, addressing the critical balance between divine decree and human effort, ikhtiyar. It introduces the principles of truth, justice, and balance, which will be further explored through the lens of mathematics and the Qur'an's language in later chapters. 3.1. The limits of destiny and the scope of effort. 3.2. The imperative of human effort, ikhtiyar. 3.3. Balancing reliance on God with striving. 3.4. Qadar as a system of truth, justice, and balance. Chapter 4. The Pentagon of Qadar, a system of divine harmony, justification for continuity. Expanding on the elements of Qadar from Chapter 2 and the principles of balance from Chapter 3. This chapter introduces the central pentagon system as a comprehensive framework. It is here that the book connects these theological concepts to specific mathematical and aesthetic principles like the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle, setting the stage for the detailed linguistic analysis in Chapter 5. 4.1. Understanding the pentagon system. 4.2. Qadar and mathematical order, hisab and harmony. 4.3. The golden ratio and beauty in creation. 4.4. The Pythagorean principle and mathematical regularity. 4.5. The Pentagon in Action. Practical examples. Chapter 5. The Qur'an's poetic and numerical language justification for continuity. This chapter shifts focus from the theological and mathematical frameworks of the previous chapters to the Qur'an itself as a miraculous text. It demonstrates how the poetic language and numerical patterns are not accidental, but are intentional expressions of the precision and harmony of Qadar and the Pentagon system discussed earlier. This chapter provides textual evidence for the book's core argument. 5.1. The poetic language of letters, a source of divine beauty. 5.2. The logical language of numerical calculation. 5.3. Ijaz Adadi, the miracle of numerical patterns. 5.4. Synthesizing poetry, numerology, and the Pentagon system. Chapter 6. Natural law in the Qur'an. Observable evidence, justification for continuity. After establishing the theoretical links between Qadar and the Qur'an's structure, this chapter provides concrete, observable examples of natural law, sunnatullah, directly from the Qur'an. This bridges the abstract concepts with the physical world, reinforcing the claim that natural law is a tangible manifestation of Qadar and preparing the reader for the practical implications discussed in the next chapter. 6.1. The alternation of day and night. 6.2. The water cycle and the sustenance of life. 6.3. The laws of life and death. 6.4. Planetary orbits and celestial order. Chapter 7. Practical implications and a balanced life justification for continuity. This chapter brings all the preceding concepts, Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an's message, into the realm of practical application. It moves beyond theory to discuss how a deep understanding of these principles can impact a Muslim's faith, approach to science, ethical conduct, and overall life balance. This is the culmination of the book's argument, showing the real-world value of these concepts. 7.1. Strengthening faith and trust in God. 7.2. The pursuit of knowledge and scientific discovery. 7.3. Upholding justice and ethical conduct. 7.4. Achieving balance, mizan, in daily life. Chapter 8. Conclusion, justification for continuity. This final chapter summarizes the entire journey of the book, from the initial definitions to the final practical implications. It reiterates the central argument about the integrated system of Qadar and natural law, emphasizing its timeless relevance for a modern audience seeking to reconcile faith, reason, and a balanced life. 8.1. A summary of Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an. 8.2. The relevance of these principles in the modern world. Elaboration of continuity justifications. The revised book outline you've developed is excellent. The continuity justifications I added are designed to create a tight logical flow, making the entire work feel more like a single cohesive argument, rather than a collection of separate chapters. Here's a more detailed elaboration on the why behind each justification. Chapter 1. The foundation of Qadar and natural law continuity. Justification. This chapter is the entry point. It defines the core terms, Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an as haqq. Without a clear and shared understanding of these foundational concepts, the subsequent, more complex discussions would be confusing. This justification clarifies that everything to follow is built upon this base, preparing the reader for the journey ahead. Think of it as a blueprint for a house. You can't start framing the walls until the foundation is poured and set. Chapter 2. The elements of Qadar continuity. Justification. This chapter moves from a broad definition to a detailed breakdown. By outlining the 4 specific elements, knowledge, recording, will, and creation, it gives the reader the building blocks they will need. This is crucial because Chapter 4's Pentagon system is simply a visual and conceptual representation of these very elements. The justification highlights this link, showing that the detailed list in Chapter 2 isn't just an academic exercise, it's a necessary step toward understanding the more sophisticated model that follows. Chapter 3. The correlation of destiny and human endeavor continuity. Justification. This chapter provides a critical bridge from abstract theology to practical human experience. Many readers may have misconceptions about Qadar and fatalism. This chapter directly addresses that by introducing the concept of ikhtiyar, human effort. The justification shows that this discussion is a natural evolution from the previous chapters, linking the divine decree of Qadar to the ethical and moral principles of truth, justice, and balance. These principles will later be seen as the very manifestation of Qadar in both nature and society. Chapter 4, The Pentagon of Qadar, a system of divine harmony, continuity. Justification. This is where the book's unique argument truly comes to life. The justification for this chapter emphasizes its role in synthesizing earlier ideas. It takes the individual elements of Qadar from chapter 2 and the principles of balance from chapter 3 and organizes them into a powerful integrated framework. By explicitly mentioning the introduction of the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle, the justification signals that the book is now moving beyond pure theology into a fascinating interdisciplinary analysis. This sets the stage for the textual evidence that will be provided in the next chapter. Chapter 5. The Qur'an's poetic and numerical language continuity justification. This chapter is the evidence-gathering phase. The justification explains that the previous chapters have built a theoretical case, and now the book will demonstrate this theory using the Qur'an itself. The poetic and numerical miracles, ijazadadi, are presented as a perfect match for the precision and harmony of the Pentagon system. This shows the reader that the book's claims are not just philosophical, but are rooted directly in the text of the Qur'an. Chapter 6. Natural Law in the Qur'an, Observable Evidence Continuity. Justification. After exploring the internal textual evidence of the Qur'an, this chapter turns to the external observable world. The justification highlights that these are not new concepts, but are tangible examples of the natural law, sunnatullah, first introduced in chapter 1. By connecting these real-world phenomena, like the water cycle and planetary orbits, back to the central theme, the book reinforces that Qadar is a system that governs both the scripture and the cosmos. Chapter 7. Practical Implications and a Balanced Life Continuity. Justification. This is the payoff chapter. The justification points out that this section is the culmination of all the preceding arguments. It moves from what it is and how we know it to what it means for me. By showing how an understanding of Qadar can directly impact faith, science, ethics, and personal well-being, the book demonstrates its practical value and relevance to the reader's daily life. Chapter 8. Conclusion Continuity. Justification. The conclusion needs to do more than just summarize. It needs to synthesize and leave a lasting impression. The justification explains that this final chapter ties all the threads together, bringing the reader back to the central thesis about the integrated system of Qadar and natural law. It underscores the book's ultimate purpose, to show that these ancient concepts are profoundly relevant and provide a powerful framework for navigating the complexities of the modern world. Elaboration of continuity justifications. The revised book outline you've developed is excellent. The continuity justifications I added are designed to create a tight, logical flow, making the entire work feel more like a single, cohesive argument rather than a collection of separate chapters. Here's a more detailed elaboration on the why behind each justification. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Qadar and Natural Law. Continuity Justification. This chapter is the entry point. It defines the core terms, Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an as haqq. Without a clear and shared understanding of these foundational concepts, the subsequent more complex discussions would be confusing. This justification clarifies that everything to follow is built upon this base, preparing the reader for the journey ahead. Think of it as a blueprint for a house. You can't start framing the walls until the foundation is poured and set. Chapter 2. The Elements of Qadar Continuity. Justification. This chapter moves from a broad definition to a detailed breakdown. By outlining the 4 specific elements, knowledge, recording, will, and creation, it gives the reader the building blocks they will need. This is crucial because Chapter 4's Pentagon system is simply a visual and conceptual representation of these very elements. The justification highlights this link, showing that the detailed list in Chapter 2 isn't just an academic exercise. It's a necessary step toward understanding the more sophisticated model that follows. Chapter 3. The Correlation of Destiny and Human Endeavor. Continuity. Justification. This chapter provides a critical bridge from abstract theology to practical human experience. Many readers may have misconceptions about Qadar and fatalism. This chapter directly addresses that by introducing the concept of ikhtiyar, human effort. The justification shows that this discussion is a natural evolution from the previous chapters, linking the divine decree of Qadar to the ethical and moral principles of truth, justice, and balance. These principles will later be seen as the very manifestation of Qadar in both nature and society. Chapter 4. The Pentagon of Qadar, a system of divine harmony continuity. Justification. This is where the book's unique argument truly comes to life. The justification for this chapter emphasizes its role in synthesizing earlier ideas. It takes the individual elements of Qadar from Chapter 2 and the principles of balance from Chapter 3 and organizes them into a powerful integrated framework. By explicitly mentioning the introduction of the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle, the justification signals that the book is now moving beyond pure theology into a fascinating interdisciplinary analysis. This sets the stage for the textual evidence that will be provided in the next chapter. Chapter 5. The Qur'an's poetic and numerical language continuity justification. This chapter is the evidence-gathering phase. The justification explains that the previous chapters have built a theoretical case, and now the book will demonstrate this theory using the Qur'an itself. The poetic and numerical miracles, ijaz-adadi, are presented as a perfect match for the precision and harmony of the Pentagon system. This shows the reader that the book's claims are not just philosophical, but are rooted directly in the text of the Qur'an. Chapter 6. Natural Law in the Qur'an, Observable Evidence Continuity Justification. After exploring the internal textual evidence of the Qur'an, this chapter turns to the external observable world. The justification highlights that these are not new concepts, but are tangible examples of the natural law, sunnatullah, first introduced in Chapter 1. By connecting these real-world phenomena, like the water cycle and planetary orbits, back to the central theme, the book reinforces that Qadar is a system that governs both the scripture and the cosmos. Chapter 7. Practical Implications and a Balanced Life Continuity. Justification. This is the payoff chapter. The justification points out that this section is the culmination of all the preceding arguments. It moves from what it is and how we know it to what it means for me. By showing how an understanding of Qadar can directly impact faith, science, ethics, and personal well-being, the book demonstrates its practical value and relevance to the reader's daily life. Chapter 8. Conclusion Continuity. Justification. The conclusion needs to do more than just summarize. It needs to synthesize and leave a lasting impression. The justification explains that this final chapter ties all the threads together, bringing the reader back to the central thesis about the integrated system of Qadar and natural law. It underscores the book's ultimate purpose to show that these ancient concepts are profoundly relevant and provide a powerful framework for navigating the complexities of the modern world. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Qadar and Natural Law, Justification for Continuity. This introductory chapter sets the stage by defining the core concepts of Qadar and natural law and establishing the Qur'an as haqq, absolute truth. This foundation is crucial for all subsequent chapters, which will delve deeper into each of these elements and their interconnections. This book begins by laying the groundwork for a profound and interconnected understanding of the universe. We will explore the divine concept of Qadar, Allah's perfectly measured order, not as a force of unchangeable fatalism, but as a dynamic and elegant system that governs all of creation. This system's observable rules and consistent patterns are what we refer to as natural law or sunnatullah. By establishing the Qur'an as haqq, the absolute unchanging truth, we will show how this divine scripture is both the source and the explanation for these universal principles. This chapter will serve as a foundational blueprint, essential for understanding the intricate arguments and connections that will be built throughout the rest of the book. 1.1. Defining Qadar, Allah's measure and destiny. The Arabic term Qadar is often translated simply as destiny or fate, which can lead to a passive or deterministic worldview. However, its root meaning is far richer, encompassing concepts of measurement, proportion, and power. In the context of the Qur'an, Qadar refers to Allah's perfect and precise plan for all things. It is the divine knowledge, will, and creative act that sets the parameters for every event, from the orbits of planets to the growth of a single seed. We will explore how this concept is not about preordained outcomes that negate human choice, but rather about a cosmic order that makes human endeavor and responsibility meaningful. 1.2 Natural Law, Suratullah, as a manifestation of Qadar natural law, Sunnatullah, is the tangible, observable evidence of Qadar in action. These are the consistent, unchanging laws that govern the physical world. Think of gravity, the water cycle, or the process of photosynthesis. These are not random occurrences, but are the direct, continuous expression of Allah's perfectly measured system. While humans can discover and utilize these laws, they cannot alter them. This subchapter will explore how the Qur'an repeatedly points to these natural phenomena as signs, ayat, of Allah's creative power and wisdom, thereby demonstrating that the physical world is a testament to the divine order of Qadar. 1.3 The Qur'an as Haqq, absolute truth. To properly understand the relationship between Qadar and natural law, we must first accept the Qur'an as Haqq. The term Haqq signifies an absolute, undeniable truth that is complete and free from falsehood. The Qur'an is not merely a book of moral guidance, it is a text that claims to be a divine revelation of the very principles that govern existence. This subchapter will establish that the Qur'an's internal consistency, its prophetic accuracy, and its profound wisdom serve as the ultimate reference point for our discussion. By treating the Qur'an as Haqq, we can reconcile theological concepts with scientific observations and philosophical inquiry. 1.4 Purpose and structure of this book. This book aims to bridge the perceived gap between faith and reason, theology and science. By using the Qur'an as our guide, we will systematically dismantle misconceptions about Qadar and demonstrate its profound harmony with the observable laws of the universe. We will move from foundational definitions to a detailed exploration of the Pentagon of Qadar, examine the Qur'an's unique linguistic and numerical structures, and finally, present practical implications for living a balanced and purposeful life. Our journey is designed to show that a deeper understanding of these concepts not only strengthens faith, but also enhances our appreciation for the intricate beauty of creation. Chapter 2. The Elements of Qadar Justification for Continuity. Building on the general definition from Chapter 1, this chapter provides a detailed breakdown of the fundamental elements of Qadar. This detailed understanding is essential for appreciating the complexity of the Pentagon system and the correlation between destiny and human effort, which are discussed in the following chapters. Having established the foundational concepts in Chapter 1, we now turn to the specific components that make up Qadar. This chapter breaks down this profound concept into 4 core elements, creating the theological building blocks necessary for a comprehensive understanding. By exploring Allah's all-encompassing knowledge, the recording of all events, the absolute nature of His will, and the precise act of creation, we will prepare the reader to understand the unified system presented in Chapter 4 and the crucial balance of human choice discussed in Chapter 3. 2.1 Allah's all-encompassing knowledge. The first and most fundamental element of Qadar is Allah's perfect and eternal knowledge. Before the creation of the universe, Allah knew with absolute certainty everything that would happen, from the grandest cosmic events to the most minute details of an individual's life. This knowledge is not a passive foresight, but an active and timeless awareness that encompasses the past, present, and future. It is not limited by time or space. This knowledge, however, does not compel human action. Instead, it is the divine backdrop against which all free will and human choices unfold. We will explore how this concept deepens our trust in Allah's wisdom while preserving the validity of our own choices. 2.2 The recording in Lawhul Mahfuz. The second element is the divine recording of all events in a celestial preserved tablet, known as Lawhul Mahfuz. This is a physical manifestation of Allah's knowledge, a divine ledger where the fate of all creation is eternally inscribed. This record is a testament to the order and precision of the universe. It includes not only major historical events, but also the life stories of every individual, including their actions, their destinies, and their ultimate outcomes. This concept reinforces the idea that the universe operates according to a meticulously planned blueprint, and it serves as a reminder that nothing happens by chance or coincidence. 2.3 the absolute nature of Allah's will. The third element is Allah's will, or Mashiach. This is the divine command that brings everything into existence. While Allah knows all things and has recorded them, it is His will that translates this knowledge into reality. Nothing can happen in the universe without the express will of Allah. This element can be difficult to reconcile with the concept of human free will, but we will explore how Allah's will operates on a cosmic scale, providing the framework for all existence, within which human free will is a key component. Allah's will creates the conditions and possibilities, but human beings are given the freedom to navigate and choose their path within those parameters. 2.4. Creation and precise measurement. The final element is the act of creation, or khalq, which is a direct result of Allah's will. This is where Qadar moves from a conceptual reality to a tangible one. Every single thing in the universe, every atom, every star, every living creature, is created with an exact and precise measure. This precision is evident everywhere, from the delicate symmetry of a snowflake to the complex DNA structure of a human being. This element emphasizes that the universe is not a chaotic place, but is built upon a foundation of perfect balance and order. This final stage of Qadar brings the divine plan to life, making the universe a living testament to Allah's power, knowledge, and wisdom. Chapter 3. The correlation of destiny and human endeavor. Justification for continuity. This chapter takes the foundational concept of Qadar from chapter 2 and applies it to human life, addressing the critical balance between divine decree and human effort, ikhtiyar. It introduces the principles of truth, justice, and balance, which will be further explored through the lens of mathematics and the Qur'an's language in later chapters. Having detailed the divine elements of Qadar in the previous chapter, we now confront one of the most critical and often misunderstood aspects of this concept, its relationship with human free will. This chapter moves beyond theological definitions to the practical reality of our lives, showing how our choices and efforts are not in conflict with the divine plan, but are an integral part of it. We will explore how Islam mandates active striving, ikhtiyar, and how this striving, combined with reliance on God, creates a life of purpose and responsibility. This discussion will set the stage for understanding how the principles of truth, justice, and balance are not just abstract ideals, but are the very essence of a life lived in harmony with divine order. 3.1. The limits of destiny and the scope of effort. The concept of Qadar does not eliminate human responsibility. Rather, it provides the framework within which our choices matter. While Allah has decreed the ultimate outcomes and set the laws of the universe, He has also given humans a unique capacity for choice. This subchapter will delineate what is considered a matter of destiny, such as our birth, our time of death, and the physical laws of the universe, and what falls within the scope of our free will, such as our actions, intentions, and moral decisions. We will show that while we cannot control the hand we are dealt, we are entirely responsible for how we play the cards. 3.2. The imperative of human effort, ikhtiyar. Islam places a strong emphasis on human effort, ikhtiyar. The Qur'an and the Prophet's teachings are filled with injunctions to strive, work hard, and seek knowledge. This is a direct refutation of the fatalistic view that everything is predetermined and that human action is futile. We will discuss key verses and hadith that highlight the importance of taking action, earning a livelihood, and actively pursuing a better life. This section will argue that ikhtiyar is not just a worldly necessity, but an act of worship and a fulfillment of our role as stewards of the earth. 3.3. Balancing reliance on God with striving. The true challenge lies in harmonizing human effort with an unwavering trust in God, tawakkul. This is not a passive surrender, but an active reliance. It means doing everything within one's power and then leaving the final outcome to Allah. We will explore this delicate balance, presenting it as a state of active submission where one strives with all their might while remaining content with whatever result Allah decrees. This balanced approach protects a person from despair in failure and arrogance in success, fostering a life of humility, gratitude, and resilience. 3.4 Qadar as a system of truth, justice, and balance. Ultimately, the interplay between Qadar and human effort is a manifestation of divine principles, truth, justice, and balance, Mizan. The universe is not a chaotic place of random events, but a system of cause and effect where actions have consequences. This is a system of justice where good deeds are rewarded and bad deeds are held accountable. The balance is evident everywhere, from the equilibrium of nature to the moral equilibrium of society. This section will introduce these core principles, which serve as the ethical compass for living a life that is in harmony with both divine decree and personal responsibility. Chapter 4. The Pentagon of Qadar, a system of divine harmony, justification for continuity. Expanding on the elements of Qadar from Chapter 2 and the principles of balance from Chapter 3, this chapter introduces the central pentagon system as a comprehensive framework. It is here that the book connects these theological concepts to specific mathematical and aesthetic principles like the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle, setting the stage for the detailed linguistic analysis in Chapter 5. Building upon the individual components of Qadar and the principles of truth, justice, and balance, we now introduce a unique and powerful framework, the Pentagon of Qadar. This system synthesizes the divine attributes of knowledge, will, and creation into a unified model that illustrates the universe's inherent order. This is where we transition from purely theological concepts to a fascinating interdisciplinary analysis, revealing how these spiritual truths are reflected in the mathematical and aesthetic laws of the cosmos. By connecting this pentagon model to principles like the golden ratio and the Pythagorean principle, we will demonstrate that the balance of Qadar is not just a theological idea, but a tangible reality woven into the fabric of creation, preparing us to see its specific manifestations in the Qur'an itself. 4.1. Understanding the Pentagon System. The Pentagon of Qadar is a conceptual model that provides a visual and logical framework for understanding the interconnected elements of Allah's divine decree. Each of the 5 points of the Pentagon represents a key aspect: Allah's knowledge, the recording in Lawhul Mahfuz, His will, the act of creation, and the resulting universal harmony or balance, Mizan. This system shows that these elements do not operate in isolation, but are an integrated, self-sustaining loop. The center of the pentagon represents the divine unity, Tawheed, from which all these elements emanate. This model allows us to appreciate the elegance and completeness of Allah's plan, where every detail is connected to a perfect divine whole. 4.2 Qadar and mathematical order, Hisab and harmony. The Qur'an frequently mentions the concept of Hisab, which means calculation or account. This term points to the universe's precise mathematical order. The intricate patterns of planetary orbits, the consistent laws of physics, and the specific proportions in nature all reflect a divine mathematical design. This subchapter explores how Qadar is the source of this cosmic Hisab. This mathematical order is not a coincidence. It is a fundamental aspect of Allah's creation, demonstrating that the universe is built on a foundation of perfect, calculated harmony. We will explore how this divine calculation is the basis for all the scientific laws we have discovered. 4.3. The golden ratio and beauty in creation. The golden ratio, P/1 618, is a mathematical constant found throughout nature and art. From the spiral of a nautilus shell to the proportions of the human body and the arrangement of leaves on a stem, this ratio is often associated with natural beauty and aesthetic balance. This section will demonstrate how the golden ratio can be seen as an expression of the pentagon of Qadar's inherent harmony. We will present examples from the natural world to show how this specific mathematical proportion reflects a universal principle of design, reinforcing the idea that the beauty we observe is a direct manifestation of Allah's precisely measured creation. 4.4. The Pythagorean principle and mathematical regularity. The Pythagorean principle, a 2 plus b2 equals sine c2, is a cornerstone of geometry, revealing the fundamental relationship between the sides of a right-angled triangle. Its universal applicability and predictable regularity reflect the unwavering consistency of natural law. This section will connect this principle to Qadar, arguing that the unchanging nature of such mathematical truths is a testament to the stability and divine precision of the universe's operating system. The fact that these geometric laws hold true everywhere in the cosmos illustrates that the universe is not random, but is governed by a consistent and logical divine framework. 4.5. The Pentagon in Action. Practical examples. To make the Pentagon of Qadar more tangible, we will provide several practical examples of its principles in action. This could include examining the life cycle of a plant, the gravitational interactions of a solar system, or even the ethical consequences of a person's choices. Each example will be analyzed through the lens of the Pentagon's 5 points, showing how Allah's knowledge, recording, will, and creation come together to produce a balanced and harmonious outcome. This section will solidify the Pentagon as a useful tool for understanding both the physical and metaphysical aspects of Qadar. Chapter 5. The Qur'an's Poetic and Numerical Language. Justification for continuity. This chapter shifts focus from the theological and mathematical frameworks of the previous chapters to the Qur'an itself as a miraculous text. It demonstrates how the poetic language and numerical patterns are not accidental, but are intentional expressions of the precision and harmony of Qadar and the Pentagon system discussed earlier. This chapter provides textual evidence for the book's core argument. Having established the theoretical framework of the Pentagon of Qadar and its mathematical underpinnings, we now turn to the ultimate source of divine truth, the Qur'an. This chapter will demonstrate how the very structure of the Qur'an serves as a testament to the divine order we have been exploring. We will show that the Qur'an is a dual masterpiece, combining a powerful poetic language that resonates with the soul and a precise numerical language that appeals to reason. This unique combination, manifested in what is known as ijaz adadi, numerical miracles, provides concrete evidence that the Qur'an is a divinely authored text, reflecting the same precision and harmony of Qadar that governs the cosmos. 5.1. The Poetic Language of Letters, a source of divine beauty. The Qur'an's text is more than just a collection of words. It is a work of profound poetic beauty. The rhythmic flow of its verses, the careful selection of its letters, and the powerful imagery it evokes are all designed to impact the listener and the reader on a deep spiritual level. This subchapter will explore the aesthetic dimension of the Qur'an, focusing on the eloquence, fasaha, and rhetorical power, balagha, that have captivated millions for centuries. This poetic beauty is not merely for artistic effect. It is a means of conveying divine truth, making the message of Allah accessible and memorable. The inherent beauty and harmony of the language reflect the divine beauty and harmony of creation itself. 5.2. The Logical Language of Numerical Calculation. In stark contrast to its poetic nature, the Qur'an also contains a profound and intentional numerical order. This is the logical language of the Qur'an, where numbers, frequencies of words, and patterns of verses appear to be precisely calculated. This subchapter will introduce the concept of this numerical order, distinguishing it from mere coincidence. We will explore simple examples, such as the balanced repetition of certain words, for example, life and death, male and female, to show a deliberate design. This numerical consistency points to a meticulous author who is not bound by the limitations of human expression, mirroring the precision of natural law. 5.3. Ijaz adadi, the miracle of numerical patterns. Ijaz adadi refers to the scientifically verifiable numerical miracles found within the Qur'an. These are complex, intricate patterns that are statistically improbable to have occurred by chance. This section will delve into specific examples, such as the frequency of certain root words, the relationships between different chapters and verses, and the numerical codes that have been discovered in the text. We will discuss how these patterns, often related to numbers like 7 and 19, are not just isolated curiosities, but part of a greater, interconnected system. This is the ultimate proof that the Qur'an is a mathematically perfect text, a divine code that confirms its origin and reinforces the concept of a divinely measured universe. 5.4. Synthesizing poetry, numerology, and the Pentagon system. This final subchapter brings all the preceding ideas together. We will show how the Qur'an's poetic elegance and its numerical precision are not contradictory, but complementary expressions of the same divine reality. The beauty of its language appeals to our hearts, while the logic of its numbers appeals to our minds. Together, they form a perfect integrated system that reflects the pentagon of Qadar. The Quran's unique blend of poetry and numerology is the textual manifestation of the divine harmony and balance, mizan, that we first introduced as the core of Qadar. It is through this synthesis that the book's core argument is fully realized. The Quran is the ultimate textual evidence of a divinely ordered universe. Chapter 6. Natural Law in the Quran. Observable evidence justification for continuity. After establishing the theoretical links between Qadar and the Quran's structure, this chapter provides concrete, observable examples of natural law, sunnatullah, directly from the Quran. This bridges the abstract concepts with the physical world, reinforcing the claim that natural law is a tangible manifestation of Qadar, and preparing the reader for the practical implications discussed in the next chapter. Having explored the internal textual evidence for divine order within the Quran, we now turn our attention to the external world. This chapter will demonstrate how the very fabric of our physical reality is a testament to the divine system of Qadar. By highlighting specific natural phenomena described in the Quran, we will show that natural law is not a set of random scientific principles, but a consistent, observable manifestation of Allah's perfectly measured creation. This section will serve as a powerful bridge, connecting the abstract theology of the previous chapters to the tangible world we inhabit, and setting the stage for a discussion on how these principles inform our daily lives. 6.1. The alternation of day and night. The Quran repeatedly mentions the alternation of day and night as a sign, ayah, of Allah's power and wisdom. This is a fundamental natural law governed by the Earth's rotation. This subchapter will explore how the Quran describes this phenomenon, not just as a physical process, but as a precise, purposeful cycle that provides rest and activity for humanity. The consistent, predictable nature of day and night is a clear and simple example of Qadar in action. A cosmic clock that functions without fail, demonstrating the reliability of Allah's provisions. 6.2. The water cycle and the sustenance of life. The water cycle, a process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, is a critical system for all life on Earth. The Quran describes this cycle in remarkable detail, linking the rain to the revival of barren land and the sustenance of all living creatures. We will analyze these verses to show how the Quran accurately portrays this natural law, centuries before it was scientifically understood. The perfect balance of this cycle, just enough rain to sustain life, but not so much as to cause widespread destruction, is a powerful testament to the precise measurement inherent in Qadar. 6.3. The laws of life and death. The processes of life and death from conception to decomposition are governed by an intricate set of biological and chemical laws. The Quran addresses these laws, speaking of the stages of human development in the womb and the inevitable end of all life. This section will discuss how the consistent, irreversible nature of these processes is another example of natural law. The life and death of every living thing follow a predetermined course, demonstrating that the scope of Qadar extends to the very essence of our existence. 6.4. Planetary orbits and celestial order. The final subchapter will focus on the grandest scale of natural law, the celestial order. The Quran describes the sun, moon, and stars, each traveling in a specific orbit, a law that governs the cosmos. We will explore verses that speak of this precise celestial movement, which is a physical manifestation of the divine decree. The stability and predictability of planetary orbits are a magnificent and undeniable proof that the universe is not a chaotic accident, but a meticulously crafted, divinely ordered system that operates in perfect harmony with Qadar. Chapter 7. Practical implications and a balanced life, justification for continuity. This chapter brings all the preceding concepts, Qadar, natural law, and the Quran's message, into the realm of practical application. It moves beyond theory to discuss how a deep understanding of these principles can impact a Muslim's faith, approach to science, ethical conduct, and overall life balance. This is the culmination of the book's argument, showing the real-world value of these concepts. Having explored the theoretical frameworks and textual evidence for divine order, this chapter serves as the culmination of our journey. We will now shift from abstract concepts to their real-world impact, showing how an integrated understanding of Qadar and natural law can profoundly influence a person's life. This section will demonstrate that these principles are not just for academic study, but are a powerful guide for strengthening faith, engaging with the modern world, and achieving a life of meaning and purpose. This chapter is the so what of our argument, connecting divine wisdom to daily existence. 7.1. Strengthening faith and trust in God. A correct understanding of Qadar strengthens a Muslim's faith by fostering a deep sense of trust in Allah, tawakkul. When we realize that all events, both good and bad, are part of a divinely measured system, we can face life's challenges with patience and resilience. This subchapter will discuss how accepting that Allah's plan is perfect helps us find peace and contentment, reducing anxiety and despair. It teaches us to be grateful for blessings and patient in adversity, knowing that every experience is a part of a greater, wiser plan. 7.2. The pursuit of knowledge and scientific discovery, licensed by Google. Far from discouraging scientific inquiry, a proper understanding of Qadar and natural law encourages it. The universe, as a creation of a wise and all-knowing God, is a book of signs, ayat, waiting to be read. This subchapter will argue that scientific exploration is an act of worship, a way of discovering the beautiful and consistent laws that Allah has set in place. By studying the natural world, we are not only advancing human knowledge, but also deepening our appreciation for the Creator's power and precision. This approach reconciles faith and science, viewing them as two complementary paths to understanding the same divine truth. 7.3. Upholding justice and ethical conduct. The concept of Qadar is intrinsically linked to justice. Because our actions fall within the scope of our free will, we are held accountable for them. This subchapter will demonstrate that the divine system of cause and effect mandates ethical conduct and social responsibility. By understanding that our actions have real-world consequences and are part of a just, divinely ordered system, we are motivated to uphold justice, act with integrity, and contribute positively to our communities. This is where the principles of balance, mizan, and justice translate into tangible moral obligations. 7.4. Achieving balance, mizan, in daily life. Ultimately, the goal of understanding Qadar is to achieve balance in all aspects of life. This final subchapter will synthesize the entire book's message into a practical guide for daily living. We will discuss how to balance reliance on God with personal effort, spiritual life with worldly responsibilities, and emotional responses with rational thought. This balanced approach, informed by the principles of divine order, leads to a fulfilling and purposeful life that is in harmony with both divine will and the natural world. Chapter 8. Conclusion Justification for Continuity. This final chapter summarizes the entire journey of the book, from the initial definitions to the final practical implications. It reiterates the central argument about the integrated system of Qadar and natural law, emphasizing its timeless relevance for a modern audience seeking to reconcile faith, reason, and a balanced life. Having traversed the landscape of theological principles, mathematical harmony, textual evidence, and practical applications, we arrive at the book's final synthesis. This chapter serves as a comprehensive summary of our findings, reiterating the core argument that Qadar and natural law are not separate concepts, but a unified system of divine order. We will revisit the pentagon of Qadar, the Qur'an's unique linguistic and numerical proofs, and the observable evidence in the natural world. Most importantly, we will underscore the timeless relevance of these principles for modern Muslims, showing that these ancient concepts provide a powerful framework for navigating the complexities of the 21st century and achieving a balanced life. 8.1. A summary of Qadar, natural law, and the Qur'an. This subchapter will concisely recap the book's central arguments. We will briefly revisit the four elements of Qadar: knowledge, recording, will, and creation, the concept of natural law as its tangible manifestation, and the Qur'an as haq, absolute truth, that serves as our guide. We will then summarize how the Pentagon of Qadar model integrates these ideas, demonstrating a divinely orchestrated system of harmony and precision. The discussion will also touch upon the Qur'an's dual language, poetic and numerical, and how it provides irrefutable evidence for this divine order. This section aims to consolidate the reader's understanding of the interconnectedness of all the book's themes. 8.2. the relevance of these principles in the modern world. The final subchapter will address the crucial question of why these concepts matter today. We will argue that a deep understanding of Qadar and natural law provides a powerful antidote to the anxieties and moral ambiguities of the modern world. It offers a framework for reconciling scientific discovery with religious faith, provides an ethical compass for navigating complex societal challenges, and encourages a balanced approach to life that avoids both fatalism and arrogance. By seeing the universe as a purposeful, orderly creation, readers can find a sense of meaning and peace, reinforcing that a life lived in harmony with Allah's provisions is the truest path to success and fulfillment.